Hey, what's up guys? John here. Los Angeles is officially a sanctuary city. If you're looking at New York City and you're seeing 100,000 plus migrants, you're seeing all the chaos that's unfolding there. Just know that this is coming to Los Angeles and to the entire state of California. What we're already seeing in California is a wave of crime. Whether it be in Orange County, downtown LA, San Francisco, or everywhere in between, you're seeing smash and grabs. We're seeing people go inside of jewelry stores with a hammer and a trash can, just banging out the windows and pushing everything into the trash can, literally taking hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of jewelry with almost no downside risk because they're not going to get caught. They're not going to get in trouble. It's zero cash bail. It's a free-for-all in California. And I'm going to break down exactly what's going on because in this channel I talk about personal finance, real estate, business, and money. And if you're an investor, if you're a business owner, if you're an entrepreneur, you have to understand risk. You have to understand trends. I'm going to show you the trend of California and what they have planned for the next couple of years. This is only just the beginning. So please hit the like button. When you hit the like button, YouTube will share this content to educate more people about what's really going on. And if you want to fix your credit, you want to position yourself for the greatest wealth transfer of all time. We are in it. Started in 2020, 2021. The next couple of years, I'm telling you, it's going to get out of control. You're going to want great credit. You're going to want to position yourself so you can get financing to pick up distressed opportunities. So go to greatcreditfast.com, schedule a free strategy session. If you need help fixing your credit, we'd love to help you. Take a look at this. So the Los Angeles City Council voted on Friday to make LA a sanctuary city. Now, if you remember, 2 years ago, Gavin Newsom came out and he said that we will never return back to normal because normal accepts inequity. That's what he said.
We're not going to go back to normal because I think we all agree normal was never good enough. Normal accepts inequity.
So what does that really mean? Well, I'm going to show you. So this came out yesterday. 7th bus carrying migrants sent from Texas arrives in downtown LA. It means that they are going to continue to push more and more and more inequity in downtown LA. And with that is going to follow more extreme measures. Really extreme measures to strip wealth from the citizens and to give it to the top. This isn't, it's not political, it's just fact. This is factually what's actually happening. So Los Angeles Times, LA County courts to severely limit use of cash bail, right? So as of October 1st, virtually all defendants accused of misdemeanors or nonviolent felonies in LA County will either be cited and released or freed on certain terms and conditions after judicial review within 24 hours of arrest. Think about it. If you are making $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 a year, you're making $4 or $5 grand a month, right? It's good money. It's good money. But at the end of the day, you're working that hard when there's someone out there, smashing and grabbing in a jewelry store, making $200, $300, $400, $500 grand tax-free with no downside risk. You're incentivizing the behavior with these policies. That's what's happening. And they know this. They know that California is about to go through a really big change. This came out a year ago, a little over a year ago. California must build 2.5 million housing units by 2030 to avoid exacerbating homeless crisis, right? They know there's going to be a wave of people that are going to be coming to California. A wave. I'm talking millions, tens of millions of people. That might sound extreme, but hear me out. Look at this. New York Times, so New York Times magazine, they came out and said right here that across the United States, some 162 million people, nearly 1 in 2 will most likely experience decline the quality of their environment, namely more heat and less water. For 93 million of them, the changes could be particularly severe. By 2070, our analysis suggests if these emissions rise at extreme levels, at least 4 million people could find themselves living on the fringe in places decidedly outside of their ideal niche for human life. But here they say that they suggest 1 in 12 Americans in southern half of the country will move towards California, right? They're getting ready for this. They're getting ready for this really big push. And that's why they're listed on this website. And they'll tell you on this website exactly what the future of California is going to look like. And if you look at the donors, you look at the founders, you look at who's behind it, you'll realize this is real. This is not just some type of fly-by-night type of website with some type of goal. This is backed by law. This is what they're actually doing. So how are they going to do this? How are they going to house millions and millions of people? Well, they're going to restructure capitalism in the state of California. So you scroll down here and you go to right here, networks, and you go to private building efficiency network and you click it. And then it goes down here and it says deep retrofit, understanding the policies and programs needed to achieving this carbon building retrofits, right? So they're going to be deeply retrofitting these properties, which is going to be expensive, and that's going to be on the property owner. So if you look at the property owners, what have they went through in the last couple of years in California? Well, eviction moratoriums, for starters. They went through an increased insurance costs. You've seen a lot of insurance companies pulling out. I mean, they've suffered a lot of losses, more in California than a lot of other markets. And so now they move into these retrofits on the back of record high interest rates. So you think about it, it's really expensive to borrow money, and it's going to be really challenging for a lot of these commercial building owners to refinance. $1 trillion in overall U.S. commercial loans needs to be refinanced in the next 12 months, $2.5 trillion over the next 2.5 years. So that's 1 in 10 properties in America will have to be refinanced, most of these at a loss. So this is going to allow California to step in and swoop in on a lot of these properties, and they're going to start repurposing these to build and to create millions and millions and millions of housing units. You think I'm kidding? Look at this. And it says what we do right here, energy and buildings. You click it, and it literally says, the need for buildings and infrastructure will only intensify. By 2025, we'll need 1 billion new homes. About 60% of the buildings that will exist by 2050 haven't been built yet. This means constructing the city size of Stockholm and Milan every week until 2050, or city size of Singapore and New York every single month. This is happening. They're going to be implementing and enforcing building energy regulations and mandatory performance standards on existing buildings. So yeah, all you have to do, if you're in Los Angeles, you want to know how you get here, you just click our cities, and you just click on LA. It'll show you right here. Click on LA, and it'll take you right there, and you can click on the View City profile. But look at who's actually behind this, so you can kind of see, how serious this actually is. I mean, you have some of the biggest names. I mean, you got the UK government, you have Federal Ministry of Environmental, Nature, Conservation, and Nuclear Safety. I mean, you have IKEA, L'Oreal, Oak Foundation, you have George, and I'm going to show you how George is actually connected to this, because it's unbelievable how this whole thing kind of breaks down. So everybody knows George. Everybody knows George. You got FedEx. I mean, you got tons of big companies. You have even Hillary right here. You have World Bank. This is all happening. So if you look at George, right, and then you look at the mayor of Los Angeles, Karen Bass. Karen Bass is the mayor, and you look at the money that she raised. You look at her top donor is J Street, right? Top donor is J Street. And you look at J Street, and you just type in Open Society, and it shows you that he donated $1 million towards that, right? So he donated $1 million. So it's all kind of flowing together. It's flowing together naturally. If you look at the mayor of LA, Karen Bass, she declares a state of emergency on homelessness. So if they already have a situation where they're having problems, housing, I mean, California is known for a lot of homeless. They have a situation, a really big problem with homelessness. They issue a state of emergency, and they're bringing in many more people that are homeless, that don't have shelter, that don't have a way in which they can provide for themselves. They don't have jobs, most of them. They don't have family here, most of them. And so what's ultimately going to happen? There's going to be more and more and more dependence on some of these new policies, which is going to be very, very challenging for business owners and for landlords and property operators. If you look at where rents are right now, which is very fascinating, LA rental rates dip 1.6%. Now, when people buy commercial properties, they buy multifamily properties, most people, they buy them based on a cap rate. A cap rate is if you look at a building and you look at all the income that will be generated from that building, all the gross income, all the rents and all the money that comes in, that'd be the gross income. You minus the expenses, you get the net income, the net operating income. And you simply divide that number by the purchase price. The annual income, the annual net operating income divided by the purchase price will give you a number. It might be 5, it might be 6, it might be 4. And so that would be the price in which, the return which they would get if they paid all cash for the building. And a lot of landlords don't do that. They'll use debt. And so they buy them with a very, very, very small margins, 4%, 5% return. And so when their rents are dropping 1.6% and insurance is going up and they have eviction moratoriums, it's a big problem. It's a big problem. And all these commercial properties are purchased on 3-year, 5-year, 7-year loans, meaning they have to refinance them. If the rents are falling and their costs are increasing, they don't have equity and they can't refinance, meaning that most of these landlords are going to have to hand back the keys, and these banks are going to, I believe, sell them to investors. They're going to sell them to nonprofits. They're going to start to sell them off. And I think a lot of these properties are going to get repurposed into housing units, which are going to help hit this number, that $2.5 million target. or 2.5 million housing unit target. And so if you start to add all this new supply to the housing market, what's ultimately going to happen? Rents are going to continue to fall. And so landlords that have these properties, most landlords that have these properties with these razor-thin margins, are going to slowly but surely get hit left, right, and center, not just by draconian policies, but also because rental rates are going to continue to fall. High-income earners are likely going to start to move out of certain markets that are, dangerous. They simply just want a better choice of life. We're going to start seeing a lot of change unfold in the state of California, without doubt. A lot of change. You're already starting to see it right now. Like, for example, Core Trust loses downtown LA Tower to Oaktree in foreclosure. And right here, a wave of defaults on office towers has hit downtown Los Angeles as demand for office space continues to decline. Brookfield Corp, a major office owner in the area, defaulted on $784 million worth of loans on 2 towers, according to an SEC filing on February 10th. And while these defaults are occurring far from the west side, the fact that many corporate executives live in areas like the Palisades and Santa Monica could be contributing to the decline in downtown in a work environment changed by the pandemic. Right? And you started looking at these numbers. Brookfield failed to pay $465 million loan package to a gas company tower at 555 West 5th Street. $319 million in loans for 777 Figueroa. I mean, you start to look at this. This is a big problem. Look at these numbers: $230 million, $336 million. This is where we're going to start to go. So people ask me, what do I think is going to happen for LA? I think you're going to see a lot of investors looking at the risk and saying, you know what? California is just a very uncertain place. We look at the mansion tax that they brought into place. You look at all these new policies, the eviction moratoriums, basically making crime almost legal. A lot of people are just simply feeling unsafe. And why would one have their business there if they feel like the state isn't there to protect their business? Because these business owners are the ones that are paying taxes, and this tax revenue is the one that funds all these social programs. So if the business owners aren't being taken care of and landlords aren't being taken care of, why are they going to stay? And so what I think is going to happen is I think California is going to lose some really big taxpayers. I think that we're going to start to see a wave of dependents come forward over the state of California with this migrant crisis. And I think we're just going to see things get a hell of a lot worse in the state of California. But I also think we're going to see a lot of investors swoop in when there's really blood in the streets. And I think there's going to be a lot of it in a place like California in the next couple of years. They're gonna be able to pick up properties for pennies on the dollar. You gotta be strategic, of course. You have to really pay attention to what's actually going on behind the scenes to make smart, well-informed, forward-thinking decisions. But that's what I think is gonna happen. We're gonna see a wave of defaults, a wave of crisis, and then I think we're going to see a lot of investors swoop in and pick things up for pennies on the dollar. What do you think about this entire situation? Drop your comments below, hit the like button, add me on IG. And if you want to fix your credit, you want to position yourself for the greatest wealth transfer of all time, we'd love to help you at my company, greatcreditfast.com. That's greatcreditfast.com. Go there, schedule a free strategy session. We can see if we can help you fix your credit. We fix late payments, medical bills, collections, charge-offs, foreclosures, whatever you got, give us a call or book a call, and I'll see you guys in the next video.